When I married Rizwan, everyone said I was lucky. He was calm, respectful, and came from a respected family. I believed I had finally escaped the loneliness of my childhood. I dreamed of a peaceful home, soft laughter, and quiet evenings with a man who would protect me. For the first few months, everything truly felt perfect. Every morning, Rizwan would bring me a cup of tea. He would sit beside me, scrolling through his phone, sometimes smiling softly at something he didn't share. Our house was quiet, clean, and comfortable. I told myself I was safe. But there was one thing I could not ignore. At the end of our hallway, there was a door that never opened. It stayed locked day and night. No decoration, no label, just a plain wooden door that looked older than the rest of the house. At first, I thought it was a storage room, but something about it felt wrong, like it was hiding a secret that didn't want to be found. One afternoon, while Rizwan was at work, I paused in front of the door. I don't even remember why. My hand slowly lifted, and my fingers hovered over the cold metal knob. Before I could touch it, I heard his voice from behind me. "Don't go near that." I turned around, shocked. He was standing there, eyes dark, face serious. I had never seen him like that. "I was just curious," I said, trying to laugh. He didn't smile. "That room is not for you," he said. "Never try to open it." There was something in his voice that scared me more than the words. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the ceiling, my imagination running wild. What was inside that room? Why didn't he trust me enough to tell me? Was he hiding something? Or someone? Days passed, but the room stayed on my mind. Then I started noticing strange things. Late at night, Rizwan would quietly get out of bed. He thought I was asleep, but I wasn't. I could hear his footsteps moving slowly down the hallway. I heard the sound of a key turning in a lock. Then silence. Every time my heart would beat faster. One evening, while I was cleaning the living room, something metallic caught my eye under the sofa. I reached down and pulled it out. It was a small silver key. My hand started shaking. I knew instantly what it was for, the key to the forbidden room. I sat there on the floor for a long time, staring at it. My mind told me to put it back, to forget I had ever seen it, to be a good wife, to respect my husband's warning. But my heart didn't listen. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. That night, I hid the key in the pocket of my dress. I lay awake beside Rizwan as he slept quietly next to me. I looked at his peaceful face and wondered, "What are you hiding from me?" Just before midnight, I carefully slipped out of bed. The house was completely silent. The air felt heavy, like it was waiting for something. I stood in front of the locked door again. This time, I didn't hesitate. With trembling hands, I lifted the silver key toward the lock. And that's when I heard footsteps behind me. The moment I heard the footsteps behind me, my heart almost stopped. I froze. The silver key felt heavy in my hand, like it was burning my skin. I slowly turned around, expecting to see Rizwan standing there, his eyes full of anger and disappointment. But the hallway was empty. No one, just darkness. The footsteps stopped. For a second, I thought I had imagined it. Stress can make your mind play tricks on you, right? But deep down, I knew I had heard something real. My hands were shaking so badly that I almost dropped the key. I looked back at the door. My mind was screaming at me to go back to bed, to pretend this never happened. But I didn't. I slowly inserted the key into the lock. It fit perfectly. A soft click echoed through the silence. My heart pounded as I gently pushed the door open. The hinges made a low, tired creak. Inside, the room was dark. Completely dark. I reached for the light switch on the wall. For a second, I hesitated. Once I turned this on, there was no going back. I flipped the switch. The light flickered, then stayed on. What I saw inside made my knees weak. The room was not a storeroom. It was not empty. It was not normal. The walls were covered with photographs. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Pictures of me. I stared at them, my breath caught in my throat. Photos of me walking to the market. Photos of me sitting in my mother's house before marriage. Photos of me talking to friends. Photos of me at places I didn't even remember clearly. Some pictures looked new. Some looked old. My hands started shaking harder. Why did he have these? How long had he been watching me? In the center of the room, there was a wooden table. On top of it were notebooks. I slowly walked toward it, my legs feeling like they didn't belong to me anymore. I picked one up. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside were pages full of handwriting. Not my handwriting, his. Every page was filled with notes about my life, what I wore, where I went, who I talked to, what time I slept. I felt sick. This wasn't love. This was obsession. Suddenly, I heard a sound behind me, the door slowly closing. My heartbeat stopped. I turned around. The door was almost shut. Someone was pulling it. I ran toward it and slammed my hand on it just before it closed completely, pushing it back open. And then I saw him, Rizwan. He was standing in the doorway, staring at me. His face wasn't angry. It wasn't shocked. It wasn't scared. It was calm. Too calm. I told you, he said softly. You were never supposed to see this room. My voice shook. Why? I whispered. Why do you have pictures of me? He stepped closer. You were always meant to be mine, he said quietly. Long before you even knew my name? My blood ran cold. I realized something terrifying. This wasn't a secret room. This was his twisted love story. And I had just stepped inside it. My legs felt weak as Rizwan stood there, blocking the doorway. The light in the room flickered softly, but it felt like darkness was crawling into my heart. His words repeated in my mind. You were always meant to be mine. I laughed nervously because my brain refused to accept what my heart already knew. You're joking, right? I whispered. He shook his head. I've been watching you for years, he said quietly, almost like he was admitting something normal. The room started spinning. Years? I asked, my voice trembling. He stepped inside and gently closed the door behind him. The click of the latch sounded like a cage locking shut. You don't remember me, he continued, but I remember you clearly. My stomach twisted. He walked toward the wall and lightly touched one of the photos, a picture of me sitting alone on a park bench. That was the first time I saw you, he said. You were crying. You looked so lost, so breakable. Tears filled my eyes. Why didn't you just talk to me? I asked. There are some people you don't want to disturb, he replied. You just want to protect them from a distance. Protect. That word made me feel sick. He opened one of the notebooks and showed me a page. My name was written on the top. Under it were lines and lines of dates. My mother helped me, he said. Those words dropped on my heart like a stone. Your mother? I whispered. He nodded slowly. She saw you first, he said. She found out about you before I did. A cold chill ran through my body. You planned this? I asked, barely able to breathe. We planned a future, he said calmly. A safe future for you? I shook my head. This isn't safety, I said. This is fear. For the first time, I saw something change in his eyes. Pain. You think I would hurt you? He asked, his voice breaking slightly. I don't know what to think anymore, I replied, stepping back. He moved closer again, not aggressively, but slowly, like he didn't want to scare me. There are things you don't understand yet, he said. This house, this marriage, it wasn't random. Suddenly I realized something. My parents, how quickly they had agreed to this marriage. How easy everything had been. Did you talk to my family? I asked quietly. His silence answered me before his words did. They trusted us, he said. They thought you would be happy. My vision blurred with tears. Everybody knew. Everybody. Except me. I backed toward the wall. So I was never a choice, I said. I was a plan. Rizwan looked hurt. You were destiny, he said softly. That word broke me. Because destiny is supposed to feel warm, safe, beautiful. This felt like a trap. I looked at the door again. It was closed, locked, and I didn't have the key in my hand anymore. My heart started racing. Rizwan, I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. He tilted his head slightly. What? He asked. Where's the key? He looked down at his hand and slowly raised it. The silver key hung between his fingers. I felt the air leave my lungs. He wasn't just watching me. He was never letting me leave. The silver key glinted in the dim light as it hung from Rizwan's fingers. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened and my thoughts scattered in panic. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't angry. That made it worse. He was calm. Dangerously calm. "You don't need to be scared," he said gently, stepping closer. "Everything I did was for you." I wanted to scream, to cry, to run. But I knew one thing very clearly. If I showed him my fear, I might never leave this room. So I did something terrifying. I pretended. I forced my shaking lips into a small smile. "I'm not scared," I said, though my heart was breaking inside. "I'm just surprised." He paused. I saw it. A slight softening in his eyes. The trap wasn't just the room, it was him. "You understand now," he said quietly. "That's good." He turned toward the table to place the notebooks down. That was my opportunity. Slowly, I moved closer to him, trying not to look suspicious. Every step felt like walking over glass. "If you loved me so much," I said softly, "why didn't you just tell me?" He looked at me. "I was afraid you would run," he said. He wasn't wrong. My fingers brushed against the edge of the table. I saw the key in his hand, just a few inches away. "Keep calm. Don't rush. Don't let him see your fear." "That must have been lonely," I said gently, watching me quietly like that. His jaw loosened. "Yes," he admitted. "Lonely." That word gave me power. He was a man trapped in his own obsession, a man who had never learned what real love looked like. And I had to use that. "I'm here now," I said quietly. "You don't have to hide anymore." He stared at me, confused, hopeful. He moved closer, too close, but that brought the key even closer. My fingers twitched. Just wait. Just one more second. Then suddenly there was a loud noise from inside the house. A door. A bang. Rizwan froze. His eyes shifted toward the hallway. "Did you hear that?" he asked. I nodded, my heart racing. "Yes," I whispered. He hesitated. For the first time, he lost focus. He stepped away from me and moved toward the door to check. And in that second, I grabbed the key. My fingers wrapped around the cold silver metal. My heart exploded inside my chest. I didn't think. I moved. "Hey!" He turned around, shocked, but I had already pushed past him. I ran toward the door. My hands were shaking so badly the key almost slipped from my fingers. Click. The lock turned. The door opened. I sprinted out into the hallway, my breath burning in my chest. Behind me, I heard his footsteps. Fast, heavy. "Stop!" he shouted. I ran past the living room, past the kitchen, toward the front door. "Please, please, please." My hand touched the doorknob. I turned it. The door opened. Cold night air hit my face. I ran outside. But just as I stepped into the darkness, something heavy wrapped around my wrist. I looked back. Rizwan. He had caught me. His grip was tight. Too tight. And the look in his eyes. It wasn't calm anymore. Rizwan's hand wrapped tightly around my wrist, and for a split second my body went completely numb. The cold night air brushed my face, but I couldn't move. I tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. "Don't run," he said, his voice low and trembling. I turned to face him. The man who once brought me tea every morning was standing in front of me like a stranger. His eyes were wild now, not calm, not loving, just desperate. "Please," he whispered. That one word shocked me more than his anger. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Why are you hurting me?" He looked down at his own hand as if he had forgotten he was holding me. "I'm not trying to hurt you," he said quickly. "I'm trying to protect you." Protect. That word again. Everything with him returned to that word. I took a slow, shaky breath. If I wanted to live, I needed to think, not fight. I softened my voice. "Then let me go," I said gently. "If you love me, you won't force me." He hesitated. His fingers loosened slightly. I saw it, the fight inside his mind. Part of him wanted to control me. Another part of him didn't want to see me cry. Tears rolled down my cheeks, not fake ones, real ones. I wasn't acting anymore. "I feel like I'm drowning," I whispered. "Please, Let me breathe. His grip weakened even more. I just don't want to lose you, he said. That was it. That was the crack in his armor. You won't, I said softly. Not if you trust me. Slowly. He let go. My wrist was free, but I didn't run. Not yet. I stayed standing there. Because I knew, if I ran now, he would chase me again. And next time, he wouldn't hesitate. He stepped back. His chest was rising and falling fast. I have done wrong things, he said quietly, but I never wanted you to be scared. I nodded slowly. I know. I lied. My heart was racing, but my face stayed calm. Behind him, I saw the open doorway of the house, a dark mouth ready to swallow me again. I had to end this carefully. You should rest, I said gently. You're tired, you're stressed. He rubbed his face with both hands like a broken man. I don't sleep well anymore, he admitted. Of course he didn't. People with secrets never sleep. I'll stay, I said softly. I won't run tonight. That line changed everything. He looked at me. Really looked at me. You promise? He asked. I swallowed. I promise, I said. Another lie, but a necessary one. He nodded slowly and stepped back toward the door. Come inside, he said quietly. I walked past him carefully. My legs felt weak. My heart was screaming, but my face stayed calm. One step at a time, I told myself. Inside the house, the silence felt heavier than before. He locked the door behind us. The sound of the lock made my stomach twist. We walked back through the hallway side by side without touching. I knew one thing now. I couldn't escape with force. I had to escape with patience. And I would. Soon. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay on the bed beside Rizwan, staring at the ceiling while he lay awake too. I could see it in the tension of his body. He wasn't peaceful. He wasn't relaxed. He was afraid. Not of me, of losing control. The room was silent except for the sound of the ceiling fan and our breathing. My wrist still hurt from where he had grabbed me, but I didn't show it. I didn't want him to see that he had crossed a line he couldn't uncross. Around 3 a.m., he turned to face me. You won't leave, he said. Not as a question. I kept my voice steady. I said I wouldn't run tonight, I replied. He nodded slowly. And tomorrow? He asked. I didn't answer. Sometimes silence is safer than lies. The next morning, he left for work as if nothing had happened. He placed a cup of chai on the table before leaving, the same gentle action he always did. But now, it felt like a lie. The moment the door closed, my body felt weak. I sat down on the kitchen floor and cried silently. Then I stopped. Because I understood something very important. Crying wouldn't save me. Planning would. I went to the living room and started observing everything. Really observing. Where did he keep the keys? Which doors creaked? Which floorboards made noise? Which windows faced the street? I wasn't a wife that morning. I was a survivor. I checked his jacket pockets. Nothing. His bag. Nothing. Then I remembered. The old cupboard near the study room. He never let me clean that place. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, I found folders, papers, documents, and something that made my breath stop. My passport, my ID cards, bank documents. I wasn't allowed to have these. They were locked away. That wasn't love. That was control. And suddenly something else caught my eye. A hidden phone. Not his main one. A second phone. My mind raced. I turned it on. Password protected. I tried random numbers. Nothing. Then I typed his mother's birthday. The phone unlocked. I felt my knees weaken. Inside were messages. Messages sent to someone saved as M. I opened the conversation. My hands started shaking as I read. She tried to open the door. She is getting curious. Be careful. We can't lose her. My chest felt tight. This wasn't just him. This was bigger. Much bigger. Then I saw another message, and my heart almost stopped. If she ever tries to leave, we'll move to Plan B. Plan B? I didn't know what Plan B was, and I was terrified to find out. I locked the phone and slowly put it back. I closed the cupboard. I sat down. My heart was beating like a drum. Now I knew the truth. I wasn't living in a house. I was living in a cage, and someone else was holding the key too. But I wasn't weak, not anymore. That night, when he returned from work, I smiled like everything was normal. Inside, I was building a plan because I knew the phone messages kept echoing in my mind all night. Move to Plan B. I didn't know what Plan B was, but I knew one thing. I didn't want to be there when it happened. That evening, Rizwan came home late. His footsteps felt heavier than usual. He looked tired, stressed, and lost, like a man fighting a battle inside himself. He sat on the sofa and buried his face in his hands. I trust you, he said suddenly without looking at me. The words hit me like a knife. Because he shouldn't have. Not after everything. But that trust, it gave me a weapon. I walked to him slowly. You shouldn't be so tired, I said softly. You barely sleep. He looked up. You calm me, he said, when you're near. I forced a small smile. That night I made him chamomile tea, something harmless on the surface, but I had crushed sleeping tablets into it, tablets I found in the cupboard earlier. Not enough to harm him, just enough to make him sleep. Deeply. When he finished the tea, his eyelids grew heavy. Within minutes, he was asleep on the sofa. My heart was pounding. This was it. I moved quickly but quietly. I searched his pockets. Keys. I grabbed them. I went to the room. I grabbed my passport, my documents. I took the hidden phone. I didn't even pack clothes. I didn't look back. I ran to the door, unlocked it, stepped outside. The night air felt like freedom, but suddenly, I heard a car door close. I froze. A black car was parked across the street. The headlights turned on. I saw her. A woman sitting in the front seat. Elegant, calm, cold eyes. My mother-in-law. She stepped out of the car slowly, smiled at me. You're not going anywhere, she said. My body went cold. Behind me, I heard movement from inside the house. Footsteps, Rizwan's voice, sleepy, confused. My escape was collapsing in front of my eyes. 2 paths, 2 nightmares. But then I remembered something. The hidden phone. It wasn't just messages. It had recordings, voice notes, pictures, evidence. I held it up. If you touch me, I said, my voice shaking, this goes to the police. They both froze. My mother-in-law stared at the phone. Rizwan stepped outside slowly. He looked at me. At the phone. At his mother. For the first time, he looked confused, lost, like a man waking up from a dream. She realized she had lost control. She stepped back, got into the car, and drove away. Silence. Just us. Rizwan fell to his knees. I didn't mean for this, he whispered. I looked at him, and for the first time, I didn't feel fear. I felt pity. I know, I said. I turned and walked away. Towards the street, towards the unknown, but free. Finally free.